Hello there, you beautiful people, and welcome to this lecture on for loops. This is possibly my single favourite lecture of the whole course because what you're going to be able to do after finishing this lecture is going to be crazy. It's about to get real, you guys. So in this lecture, I'm about to show you what for loops are and how to create them. The most powerful thing about for loops, in my opinion, is how well they integrate with Python's legendary data structures and enable you to go through thousands of pieces of information in the blink of an eye, all with easily programmable results. So by the end of this lecture, you're going to know what for loops are, how to use them, and how to integrate them with lists, strings, dictionaries, and really any other Python iterable data type to blast through loads of data instantly. So let's get into it. Okay, so what the heck is a for loop? Well, for loops are made up of a variable and an iterable of some kind. On each round of the for loop, the variable becomes the next value in the iterable. This allows you to perform an operation on each value in the iterable and also makes Python for loops easily expandable. It's probably easiest if I just show you. So I've made a script called for.py, and just like in the last video, let's say I want to print out the numbers 1 to 10. One way I could do it is I could write print 1, print 2, and print 3, and so on. Okay, now I don't want to do that. Right? I don't want to do that. I want to use a for loop. So I'm going to introduce you to a function that I haven't shown you yet. It's called the range function. Okay? The range function is going to create an iterable of numbers. So say if I had range 1 to 11. Okay? What this is going to do is it's going to basically make an iterable that looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It's not going to be a list because a list is its own data type. It's going to make a range iterable. If you're using Python 2, first of all, well done on following through with this course because we've been using Python 3 all the way through. But if you're using Python 2, then range will give a list. But on Python 3, it gives a range iterable. Okay, but it's basically like this, right? You have an iterable of numbers starting at 1 and going up to, but not including 11. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, if I write for number in range 1 to 11, okay, remember that's 1 to 10, basically, print I. Oh, not I, print number. Now, if I run that, damn, look at how easy that was, right? So just by changing one piece up here, just by changing one number, I can now make this run for 1,000 numbers. Look at that. In 2 lines of code, we can get it to print thousands and thousands and thousands of lines or do operations thousands and thousands and thousands of times. That is amazing. So how did that work? Well, the first thing that it did, first thing that we did was type the letter 4 in lowercase. Idle helped us out by making it go yellow so that we know, the syntax is all correct. And just to say we're on the right track. After that, we declared a variable. I called it number, right? Now, number is going to update every single time we go through the loop. We could have called this anything. We could have called it pancakes if we wanted to, but number is probably more appropriate. We then had the keyword in that we've seen before, and then we had an iterable. Okay, we use range here, but this could very well, it could have been a list. It could have been a list like that. So let's say if I had a list 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to print out 1, 2, 3, 4. It could have been a string. So say, for example, if I had 4 letter in the string ABCD, right? That's going to, oops, sorry, I forgot to change this to say letter. Now it's going to say ABCD. Right? So you have some kind of iterable, and on every time you go through the loop, this variable becomes the next step in the iterable, or the next element. So on the first way through, it's going to be A. So it's going to print A. On the next way through, it's going to become B. So we print B. Then C. We print C. And D. We print D. Now we use number to begin with, right? We use number in range 1 to 1001, let's say. Now, range just basically saves us from typing out a list like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 1000. It just saves us doing that typing, but it's effectively the same It's effectively the same thing. You can also choose the amount of steps. So if I did 1 to 1001 in steps of 2, I think that's the syntax. Is that the syntax? It told me then, you see. This is another trick. On idle, you know, if you wait, it'll tell you how to do it. And yeah, it was right. You start what you want to start at, what you want to stop at, well, where you want to go up to, more correctly, and then optionally the step. Okay, so if I do that, we're going to go up in steps of 2. Let's just go up to 10 or 11. Now you see that we'll go up in steps of 2. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So let's see a situation of where this might be useful. Let's take an example where we wanted to go through a piece of text and count the amount of vowels and consonants in that piece of text. Also, by the way, for those of you who may not be familiar, the letters A, E, I, O, and U, these are the vowels, okay, in the English language. And you've also got the consonants are basically everything else. So let's say we want to loop through a piece of text, okay? We're going to set a variable to count our vowels. That's going to set that to 0. We're going to set our consonants starting off as 0 as well. Now, for every letter in the word, let's say, hello, okay, if that letter in lowercase is in A, E, I, O, U, these are all the vowels, yeah, then vowels is going to be vowels plus 1. Right? Does that make sense? So if the letter, so it's going to start off as H, we're going to convert it to lowercase, and H is a consonant, right? So is H in A, E, I, O, U? It's not. So it's not a vowel, so we won't add anything to that. But on the next time through, we're going to have E. Is E in there? Yes, it is. So we're going to add 1 to the number of vowels, and so on. That's how we're going to count up the vowels. Okay? Now, else if the letter is a space, because it might be if we've got a piece of text, we're just going to pass and do nothing. But otherwise, then consonants equals consonants plus 1. Now, I know this doesn't take into account other potential punctuation, but it works good enough to demonstrate the point. Now, what we want to do is we want to print out there are some amount of vowels, format in there the vowels. Now let's copy and paste this. So this is just some string formatting. There are this many consonants, and we want to take the consonants. So we are expecting this to say there are 2 vowels because of E and O, and there are going to be 3 consonants. So let's see how that works. 2 vowels, 3 consonants. Perfect. Okay. Now, we could change this to be anything. Let's say if we took our example from before, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Okay. Now, let's run that. Apparently, there are 16 vowels and 18 consonants. So, you can just see how powerful these for loops are, right? It's absolutely mad. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to cut this discussion of for loops short and save it for the next video. But here, I hopefully, you know, you're starting to understand the power of how all of these things are starting to come together. How we're getting loops in, and we're going to get logic in, and strings and numbers to create these powerful functions. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there, and we're going to pick up this discussion in the next video. So we've just seen in the last lecture what a for loop is, how it works, and how to use it with lists and strings, as well as the range function. But how do we use one with dictionaries? Well, first, let's make a dictionary. We're going to make a dictionary of students, and we're going to section them by their gender. Okay, so we're going to have in here, we're going to have male, and as a key, and we're going to have a list of names. We're going to have Tom, we're going to have Charlie, we're going to have Harry, we're going to have Frank, like that. And we're also going to have as another key, female. And in there, we're going to have Sarah, we're going to have Huda, we're going to have Samantha, we're going to have Emily, and we're going to have Elizabeth, like that. Okay, so there's some girls' names and some boys' names in a dictionary. Now, we have a dictionary with 2 keys. The first key is the word male. The second key is the word female. And under each of these keys, we have a list. So let's say we want to go through all of these names and only print out the names which have a letter A in them. Only a letter A in them. So for this, we might want to access the keys of the dictionary. And now if you recall, we can use the keys method to generate an iterable of dictionary keys. So let me show you what I mean. For key in students.keys. Okay, so I need the code on at the end. So this is going to give us an iterable. Remember, for loops need iterables. It's going to give us an iterable, which are all the student keys. It's going to give us male and female. And then as the loop goes round, the key is going to become male, and then it's going to become female, or whichever order it happens to come in. So let me just print out the key to show you this. Print the key. There you are, male and female. Okay, so that's working fine. Now we actually want to get each of the names. So what happens if I print students of that key? We're going to get two lists, right? We're going to get the male list and the female list. Now we want to go in there, right? We're going to want to go inside this this list and pull out each of the names. So now watch this. For name in students of that key. Okay, so first we get out the list here. Actually, no, we get the list here. And then for every name in that list, if the letter A is in the name, print the name. Okay, that's all we need to do. So now if I run that, we're going to get Sarah, Huda, because it's got an A there, Samantha, Elizabeth has got an A there, Charlie's got an A there, Harry's got an A there, and Frank has got an A there. But you notice Tom hasn't come out, and Emily hasn't come out because they don't have the letter A in there. So let me break it down again what happened. We made an iterable of all the keys in our dictionary. On each go round, the outer loop, the key became the next key in the dictionary. We made a list, we took each of the lists, right? Because students of that key, so if the key was male, then students of that key is going to become this list, isn't it? It's going to become the list of male names. Now, for every name in that list of male names, if A is in that name, print the name. Now, on the next way round, the key is going to become female. So students of female is going to give us this list. For every name in that female name list, if A is in that name, print the name. So basically, we go through every single piece of data in just 4 lines of code. If it's got an A in it, we print it out. Now, that is mad, right? I mean, just look how powerful that is. That is crazy. So, I mean, that's can you just see how freaking powerful that is? Now, don't worry if you didn't get this in the first attempt. This is how the glorious for loop determines who is worthy of understanding its awesomeness. Jokes aside, it may be worth watching this lecture as many times as you need to make sure that it all sinks in, okay? And playing with it yourself, just get for loops down, okay? You really need to understand that they're insane, right? For loops are an incredibly useful programming tool that you need to know, okay? It's going to open so many doors for you. So with that, let's just do a quick review of for loops and what we've seen so far. You've learned that for loops are another of Python's loops, obviously, and they are made up of a variable, like here we have key, which changes on each cycle round the loop. And the way that it changes is you have some kind of iterable, something that is made up of elements. And on every cycle round the loop, that variable becomes the next value in the iterable. You also learned how to use the range function with for loops to set up numbers to easily create iterable number lists. Well, they're not lists, but number iterables. And you also saw how to combine logic in with your for loops and how to put for loops inside of one another, which is very useful. And just generally, just watch these videos, these past few videos, over and over again until it really makes sense. I'm begging you, okay? This is rather advanced, what we've done here, but once you've got it, honestly, it's going to make your life so much easier when you program things in Python. So I'll leave you there, and in the next lecture, we're going to look at list comprehensions, which is how you can combine lists, for loops, and logic all in one line of code to create data structures. And it's mad, okay? It's really good. So I'll see you in the next video.